meeting to order and welcome the members of the committee and staff and yet to be identified members of the audience. And Adam?
Hello.
There we go.
Everybody's microphones on?
Not mine. Mine is now. There you go. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Adam. Appreciate it. So we'll call a meeting together, and that was at 5 o'clock. And I'd like to have a roll call taken, please, Lisa.
Member Dryden Hess, absent. Member Martin,
Présent. Yes.
Member Lapp,
Here.
Vice Chair Jacobson Bates,
Here.
Chair Kavanaugh.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay. Member Lapp, would you please lead the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you. Can I have a motion to approve the order of the agenda as presented?
So move.
Second.
Okay, great. Should we take a roll call vote on that? Guess I can. Let's. Why not? We'll take a roll call vote on it.
Member Dryden Hess, absent. Member Martin,
Yes.
Member Lapp,
Yes.
Vice Chair Jacobson Bates,
Yes.
Chair Kavanaugh.
Yes. Okay, now we're going to go to move to the consent agenda. And there are four things in the consent agenda: the approval of the minutes of November 23rd, the last meeting, the listing of the status on the current planning and budget division projects through November 2023, and then two others which are proposals that are submitted as in conformance with the design standards and so are recommended for approval by staff. Now, let's just proceed then. I was going to,
I'd like to
Yeah,
pull
please.
an item from the consent agenda.
Okay.
Item 2C. And as such, I think maybe we should just pull D as well, which are, did I get that right?
yeah,
Excuse me.
those are the two
Yeah, the two signs. So let's just-
proposals, signage
Yeah.
proposals.
My request is that we just pull the two signs, since there's only two, and we'll do it real quick.
Okay,
I so move.
okay, so you're moving the consent with the items C and D moved to the regular agenda.
Pulled from consent.
Okay, is there a second to that?
A second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Let's have another roll call vote, or I can call a voice vote if you like. Let's have a voice vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? 4-0. Okay. So we're, with that, with that, have we approved the minutes of the last meeting in the current planning and building?
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. So we have moved the items, consent items 2C and 2D to the regular agenda. And Esther, do you want to address your issues regarding either of those?
Well, do we start with the staff report, or do we just jump in? What's the best way of handling that when we pull it from the consent?
Well, since it's been pulled from consent, we don't have a report other than
Okay.
what's in your staff report. So
All
you
right.
can ask a question of staff.
Okay, so what I would like to propose is that the alternative sign be considered for approval.
Which page is that?
Okay, you're,
That is page 10,
on page 10, this is item 2C, or, yeah,
the Santa
was 2C.
Santa Picado. The reason I'm suggesting that is the alternative sign has the name of the business on it, along with some of the items that they have for sale, whereas the preferred wall sign doesn't have a business name, but rather the merchandise or some of the items that are available for purchase and the organic note. Not that that's bad, but I feel as though,
That's in both of them, yeah. but-
yeah, because that's contained in the other. It's important, I think, to have a sign that includes the name of the business, not just a merchandising sign.
That's a content-based regulation, so as we've discussed before, we are
Yes.
not allowed to enforce content-based regulation.
I'm asking if the applicant is here and would consider talking, because we do have an alternative proposed here, and I'd like to see if that, if the person is available to discuss that.
Please, identify yourself.
Good evening, Miguel Amon. I'm the owner of Sano Pecado, and I'm the applicant of the proposal sign.
My request is, I'm looking at the packet here, there's a preferred wall sign and alternative. Would you consider the alternative as a acceptable sign for the business? Should that be approved tonight?
The alternative is the one I proposed with my name, the organic, and a few of the items that were displayed on the sign.
Yes.
Yes, I would accept that.
So if the applicant is comfortable with that, I would like to move that be, the alternative be.
And I have a question. Why is it only approved if I have my name on it? Because with all due respect, around town, there's a bunch of signs that don't have their business names on it, and they list the exact same thing that I do, right? So why is it, and there's a couple businesses that I walked around town, they have 3, 4 signs. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe it was in June or July, in our meeting in June, it got denied because it was 3 signs, because I would have 3 signs: my storefront, my hanging sign, and my wall sign. The wall sign got denied because it was 3. It would be the 3rd sign, and my name wasn't on it. So then that's where I was like, okay, you know what? Then I'll just throw my name and I'll take my hanging sign off because it's getting damaged by water and sun. I walked around town. There's numerous businesses that have 3 or 4 signs. So why am I getting dinged for it when everyone else just has, their signs there? So I said, you know what? Okay, I'll take my hanging sign down and I'll throw my name on it, on the wall sign, and keep the same sign. But one, I already paid for my wall sign. It's done. It's within code. So why am I not allowed to have 3 signs when other businesses are?
I can't speak to the legality of the 3 signs. I do remember the discussion. I don't remember the specifics about it. And perhaps staff has a comment on that. I can't quite remember the specifics of the meeting. Was it redundancy?
In reviewing of the minutes, a decision was based on the logo and it not being in the logo. Again, previous city staff, did not advise, in my professional opinion, this DRC board properly, based on previous court cases of content-based signage and being content neutral. As I've stated before, our sign ordinance is not content-based neutral. And so it's running afoul of many items. So therefore, we are walking a very fine line. So therefore, city staff is recommending the preferred wall sign based on meeting the criteria of the sign ordinance of objective standards, not subjective standards, to which that sign does meet.
My recollection was it had something to do with the square footage of signage that was permitted at the establishment. I understand your concerns, and certainly there is an inequity that's present in the community in the signage, which goes back decades. So that's why I'm happy that you're here, because what I was proposing was that the alternative with your endorsement of that. If you have a preference for the 100% organic as the top without your business sign or business name on the sign, maybe my fellow members up here have a comment, or maybe you have more comments on that.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's, I already, that sign, it's within code. I have it done. It's just another expense. My hanging sign is getting damaged, so I'm gonna have to replace that anyways. So I'm gonna have an expense to do anyways, but why make it two expenses when, it can be fixed with just one?
And so if I understand correctly, you're 100% organic. I'm saying that because it's the top wording on the sign. That one is already made and done.
Exactly, correct.
And therefore, you would like to go with that because of the expense having already been,
Correct.
paid. Okay.
Okay?
And not so much the expense. I mean, the expense is one thing. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, please, that's fine.
The thing is, it's within code. Like I mentioned in June, it got rejected because my name wasn't on it. And like I said, that was one, and the other thing was 3 signs. It's within the square footage requirement that is listed on the on the plan I received. And like I mentioned, there's numerous businesses I can name that that's out of respect, I'm not going to, that have 3 or 4 signs in their, on their building. At the end of the day, I would just like a fair playing ground. That's,
But I
Okay.
think tonight, I don't think we're, the only thing we can address is the one sign tonight, which is on the agenda.
which is with my name or without?
According to the packet we have, the preferred sign is the one that has 100% organic without your name.
Oh, okay, perfect.
And the alternative is the one with your business name.
Exactly.
So, and your preference is then the one that is
Preferred.
the preferred with the 100%
Correct.
organic.
Okay?
Right.
Do you have a motion then, based on that?
So, no, it would be the first one.
Yeah, just
Yes.
basically,
Yeah,
I have a
going with the
motion to,
preferred. Yeah, well, to honor your
basically,
investment.
it's the recommendation of staff.
Yeah, to honor your investment, your preferences, the staff, I will move to go with the preferred wall sign.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Second? Okay, thank you, Mary Vaughn. Let's have a roll call vote.
Member Dryden Hess, absent. Member Martin,
Yes.
Member Lapp,
No.
Vice Chair Jacobson Bates,
Yes,
Chair
Kavanaugh.
Yes,
thank you for being present and expressing your concern.
appreciate that.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for the support.
I see that our council has joined our meeting, and I appreciate that very much.
Good evening.
And you were here during this discussion. I gathered were you able to hear all of that?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
I was.
So obviously,
And
the question comes up, as it has before, but I think we really need some clarification, in my view, from a legal standpoint, about if so much of the sign ordinance that we're charged with enforcing, and that's been approved by the city council and so forth, is at variance with a law that says relating to, we can't regulate content of sign. And that, as you know, that includes lots of things besides what the words say. But I've heard it say that it also includes what font is used and what colors maybe colors are not part of that. I don't know. But we talked last time, and you said that we should get, I think, a clarification about defining what those limits are, because I want to make sure that we have a meaningful role here at the Design Review Committee, and if we don't, then, we're done.
Yeah, good point.
But if everything is everything that we're being asked to approve is now off base because of this content-based deal, and that includes, the words, the font, the colors, arrows, or whatever, that I think it's important for us to have clarification on that, rather than go through this process all the time.
yes, I
Particularly when we're-
can
excuse me,
help a
but
little
particularly when
bit,
we're talking
Chair.
about
Thank
cases-
you. So, as I've said before, one of the my understanding is that one of the goals of the planning department is to redo the sign regulations to make them, not content-based, so content neutral and objective. But we are, as you're pointing out rightly, currently in this period where we still do have those types of requirements in our sign code. And so what staff did tonight was to frame the issues in the staff report based on the objective portions of the sign code, rather than, and not, bring forward some of the problematic portions. For example, the last time this was before you, part of the problem was that the business name was not one of the, excuse me, the sign wasn't serving primarily to identify the business. And that is, there's language in our code to that effect. However, that's a content-based requirement. And so I think what we're going to be seeing going forward is staff will direct you to the provisions of the sign code that are still kind of workable, and we can, use those in the interim before we get a revamped code that removes some of the problematic content-based language. As
Are
far
you
as,
involved in that process?
am I involved in that process?
Yes.
Yes, I will be. I mean,
Okay, good.
Raphael and I have to
Okay.
connect on it. We just got the flags through. But yeah, RWG, me, probably Dave and Taylor as well, who's an associate at RWG, will all help.
Okay, good.
So yes, there'll be legal, counsel on that. And then as far as, advising generally, certainly the name, like requiring certain words to be on the copy is content-based. The font is a little, it's a grayer area, but certainly that is, could be potentially considered content-based. And then as far as the color schemes, I think that, if we get a little leeway for having a Danish theme and, wanting to protect like that theme of town. So this is color's a little grayer, but again, there's also kind of the policy call of if it's somebody's logo and they've, developed that as their logo with a certain color scheme, whether that, we're not, so far Solvang hasn't done something like Westlake Village where they require everything to be the same color. And so that's a little, there are objective ways to address color, but that's different, I think, than tweaking someone's logo on an ad hoc basis. But I will say, as we bring forward the amendments to the sign regulations, I think this will become clearer. And I do think you will still have a role. It will hopefully, the goal would be that it would be better defined in the regulations. And I appreciate it is a little awkward right now with, our regulations not quite teeing up with the current state of case law. But I would encourage you to rely on staff because they are going to do the hard work in their staff reports to, frame the issue as objectively as possible with our current, using as objective standards as possible with our current regulations.
So therefore, the guidelines that we've been given, that we've used up to this point and applied to all the other applicants no longer are our guidelines. So we should disregard those and just rely on the staff and things like the size, the shape. The size, of course, is regulated. The shape and how the signage fits within the context of the environment in which it's placed, all those things are no longer our purview. Is what you're saying, unless the staff tells us that. But so far, the staff has said no.
I think that's a little extreme. And I apologize, because of the way this works, I can't actually see you all right now. I just see myself talking.
Well, you look
good. That's a little weird for me.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't say that everything doesn't apply. I think it's there's a mix of objective and content-based regulations in what we have on the books right now. And my point was that staff is going to do their best to try to direct you to the objective standards that they feel are on firmer ground and that, are more compliant with the current state of case law. And it will be a bit awkward in the interim. There's not a whole lot of way around that until we can roll out those new sign regulations.
Well, and I'd like the opportunity to, I'd like it when the applicant is here and we can ask them that, if they would consider, understanding they are not obligated to do so, but if they would consider something, and we just had that conversation and, he didn't want to consider that, and we understood and supported him in that. But I think it's good to understand how it all fits in our community where we have a kind of unique situation here. And I'm looking forward to having a lot more clarity because right now we're kind of feeling as though we don't have a role in this.
And I'm concerned about all of the cases that are out there, like yours, that is the person that just came up. We've had cases, we've decided those cases based on, in good faith on the building design standards that we were used, that not only was adopted by the city council in 1985, but it was reaffirmed by the current city council 18 months ago. And so, I think it's, you see, I mean, it really is, the question is, what are we doing here? I think is a pretty valid one.
Yeah. And I do want to sort of stop us here because I don't want to get into a higher level policy discussion in
I
the
agree.
middle of a
This isn't the
specific
time.
project agenda item.
I agree.
But I hear you, and it is, we are kind of at a transition point. But just suffice to say that just because we are adapting to new case law, evolving case law does not automatically invalidate all our prior decisions under our prior regulations. So this is going to be a forward-looking effort.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anything more on this? Okay, I think then you had the second item also.
Yes.
This is item
2D.
2D.
Sign at a Sevtap Winery,
Yeah.
473.
Sevtap Winery, yeah.
Yeah, Atterdag Road. My question was if the signage meets the size requirements, there's, all compliant there, that it is painted on plywood, and there is a lot of wording in our current guidelines that speak to it having an old world look and kind of being hand carved, and I was hoping that the applicant was present in some fashion so that we could ask if that was something that they could, incorporate into the design of their sign. Yeah, kind of dimensional, which we speak of often here as having the dimensional look to it rather than just a flat sign. And Chelsea, I'm not even sure if that, does that fit into, content again? Or do we even know at this point?
As far as requiring a three-dimensional old world style sign? I think the way that it's currently in the code is not very objective because it's kind of, old world when you see it. But I think generally regulating the materials or, look of the sign is not the right phrasing, but, that it be a wooden sign or, have a relief on it. I think that generally is not content-based because it's not regulating what the words on the sign say. But I think there's probably, we how it's written in the regulations now doesn't set out very clear standards for what counts as three-dimensional, I think. So maybe Raphael has some thoughts on that, but I would say we're, generally, like, it's okay to regulate what the sign's made out of and its shape.
I do. It's time, place, manner. It's what my mantra since starting here. So old world style, that's subjective. What is old world to you is not old world to me. That's subjective, plain as day. Objective is if you wanted to have a 3D look and relief, then you would have an objective number, as in it's raised by a 1/4 inch. That now becomes objective. The materials that are utilized, that now becomes objective. You can go from, you won't allow for a plastic sign. That's objective, plain and simple. You've allowed for the alternative to be done, whether it's wood, whether it's vinyl, something to that, metal. Materials, those are all fine, as long as, again, they're objective. So I would concur with our city attorney that the way it is written today, old world is rather subjective, and it's not very well defined, which is why in our staff report, we don't talk about it. Again, it's walking this very fine line of this awkward zone that we are in, trying to utilize the regulations that are in place while keeping in mind case law, for which we're trying to work around and work within the guise of until we revamp our code.
Okay. Yeah, there's a lot to talk about. I mean, I'm not sure, that it all boils down to, what'd you say, old world, what is it? The 3 words that,
The old world style.
old world style, whatever.
It's
And that-
rather subjective.
That's rather subjective, except it can be defined with
I don't think it
respect to.
can.
Okay.
Respectfully, I don't
okay.
believe it can.
Well, I mean, if I say old world style or old world design means this. It means these things, these shapes, these materials, this font. I mean, again, this is where it's hard for me to say that that's defining content. Okay.
Again,
So,
time,
again,
place, manner is the best way to summarize those 3 items. Signs, time.
Well, there's other ways too. I mean, you just said that's the best, and you have to prove that to me, and you haven't. Let's, go ahead.
All of that said, I think that what I'm finding tonight is that
We should spend some time
Yeah, we need some,
specifically defining what that is and what we want.
that's right.
For
That's right.
Solvang.
Absolutely, that's right. And that's what staff and council will be working on with us.
if it was a item that we could pause all discussion and put it off till it was done, that's what I would advise. All of that said, SevTap wants to open, and they are open, they want people to know where they are. So we aren't going to penalize a applicant in the interim while there's discussions of this nature. So I guess I move that we approve the application as presented.
Okay?
Sorry, did we do public comment?
Oh, no.
We have not done public comment yet.
You should open up the public comment for this item.
We
Oh,
don't
we need
mind,
to
we
on
can
this
do
item. I'm
that
sorry.
and then
Yes, thank you.
revisit the motion.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank
fair enough. Is there any public comment on the application for SevTap? No, there isn't. No other people on Zoom. So with that, are there any other comments or?
But I want to say, I like the sign, but like we just talked, we need to define what we're allowed to do, and for what, and font, or, because we don't know right now.
Right. Yep, I mean, that's, again, as council says, we're in an awkward zone because of it. So we have to do the best we can with what we have.
Shall I go ahead and?
Yeah, let's go ahead. Yeah, let's.
I move that we approve the item 4B for the sign at SevTap as presented.
Second.
Okay,
Yeah, second.
okay. Let's have a roll call on that, please.
Member Dryden Hess, absent. Member Martin,
Yes.
Member Lapp,
Yes.
Vice Chair Jacobson Bates,
Yes.
Chair Kavanaugh.
Yes. Okay. Terrific. So now, I believe that the next item on the agenda is a public communications item regarding non-agenda items. Lisa, do you want to speak to that?
Pub-
What's that?
Yes.
That's what I'm going, that's what we were going to do, right?
Yes.
Yep, yeah, but I think she was going to,
No, the next item on the agenda is public comment for items not on the agenda.
Understood.
Lisa.
right, I thought I thought Lisa was going to explain that for the record.
Sorry, I jumped ahead. For public comment, the committee welcomes your input. At this time, you may address the committee on items that are not on the agenda. The time limit is 3 minutes.
Anybody here have any comments on items that are not agenda items? I see none, and I see no, I guess, so there aren't any comments at this time? Let's move on then to the next item on the agenda, which is the discussion item relating to the signage issue at the Hotel Cork at 400 Alisell Road. They have a proposal for a freestanding sign. And for the record, and that's, it's just as sort of to restate the nature of the application, the Design Review Committee previously approved the application, and the minutes are attached of that meeting on August 18th, 2022, which I appreciate staff for attaching. And that the DRC approved the application at that time, but that application has expired since then. So they have resubmitted, apparently, is that right? Resubmitted a proposal for the sign, and I guess is the,
There's a staff report.
Yeah,
yeah, you have staff report on that, please? Can you flip those screens, so there you go.
Thank you.
All right, so discussion and possible action to approve a land use permit for Hotel Cork at 400 Alisall Road for proposed on-site signage of 1 9-square-foot pole sign and an exception for the maximum height. The proposed project is categorically exempt from CEQA, so this is the existing building frontage. The applicant is proposing the same sign that was presented and approved at the August 18th, 2022 DRC meeting. The approval has since expired with no submittal of a building permit. The applicant is requesting a modification to the height. According to the sign standards within the TRC, the maximum height for a pole sign is 13 feet. The applicant is proposing a pole sign that is 14 feet, 10 1/4 inches. This is because the sign will be replacing an existing 14-foot sign that was placed in the location in 1987. The proposed sign does meet all other standards in our code.
Okay?
And the proposed project is categorically exempt from CEQA.
Okay, great. And was the sign that was approved the same dimension?
Yes,
Okay.
no changes.
Okay. You have a comment? Please. Thanks for coming.
Sure, thank you for having me. Scott Gold with Chumash and Hotel Cork. Thanks for having me. Really, we're just redoing the approvals and ready to build as soon as we get the okay.
Great. Okay, terrific. Thank you. Are there any other comments from the public?
No.
I have a
appreciate that.
question,
Please.
Scott. I drove by today and I was looking at the pictures presented, show the old cork sign there, but I didn't see any sign there. The base, the brick base is there, and is there like a pole or?
Thank you. After we got the approval in August, we started the program. We started to change it, and then we had a red city sign to say stop all work because we didn't have a building permit. So because there's so much masonry, so then we had to stop that, then get the building permit. And so time went by. So that's what you see now. So it's decorated now as a Christmas tree.
It looks
And-
good.
Thank you. It was a scarecrow last month, and so I'm running out of ideas. Anyway, so we're ready to go. The sign is built, it's manufactured, it's just sitting in a warehouse, just ready to go.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Scott, thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Any comments from staff? Same mentions, we've approved it before. Does exceed the height limit as it did before, and I see no reason not to proceed with approval of the proposal as presented, as recommended by staff.
Just a note, I wouldn't ordinarily be in favor of something that is exceeding the height by that percentage. It's kind of grandfathered in, and given that we already did this once before.
Yep.
And about the lighting, is it the black one chosen, or both would be there?
It's the black light on the, it's an angle, your light is black on
Do you
it?
have to choose, or there is
It matches the metal
Yeah.
in the down position to accommodate
Oh.
the dark sky.
And it is the dark sky compliant.
I'm okay.
Good,
Yeah, okay.
okay.
Prior to any motion, I just want to ensure that you did open it up to public hearing, not just the applicant.
Right, okay, that's a good point, thank you. I meant to do that, but I meant to, in my request for public comment, mean more than just Scott. Thank you. Any other comment from the members of the committee? Do I hear a motion to
I'll make a
accept the?
motion to approve.
Do you want to ask, though, in the room again?
Yeah,
just to be
again,
clear?
prior to the motion, I would recommend that the chair
No.
open it up to public comment.
Okay, are there any more public comment? You sure you don't have anything? Okay. Okay, thank you, appreciate that.
We do have a sense of humor.
Yeah.
I know, it doesn't seem like.
Okay, were you going to say something, Chris, before I interrupted?
No, I moved.
Oh, I think you were.
I'm going to move to approve the sign as it was presented.
Okay,
like
second?
I'll second it.
second?
Okay. Moved and seconded, may I have a roll call vote on that, please?
Member Dryden Hess, absent. Member Martin?
Yes.
Member Lapp?
Yes.
Vice Chair Jacobson Bates?
Yes.
Chair Kavanaugh?
Yes. Very good. Now is the time on the agenda for any committee member comments. Thank you.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas.
No?
I think that we've, kind of stated our concerns, and
Oui.
you're aware of those.
Clarification.
And
about,
Are we on item number 5
Exactly.
about Alamo Pintado? Is that what we're talking about?
I was going to make a comment on the, although we've already, approved and as part of the consent agenda, the project kind of lineup here.
Yeah.
We are all hearing a lot on the Alamo Pintado project. And what is our role up here? We talked very briefly about that last time. Is there any more definition of that?
I'll discuss that in director's comments.
Okay,
Okay. Perfect.
any other comment from committee members? But it would note that there's obviously continuing issues or concerns about that project and so forth. And any other Committee member comments? Okay, city staff comments?
Thank you, members. I share in your frustration, by the way, on the sign ordinance, and actually quite a few of our other ordinances. So I'll get to that in a minute. Just a quick update of what's going on project-wise. The city council, at our last meeting, approved and adopted the housing element. We sent that off to the state of California for certification. My word from HCD is they are fast-tracking that, and it looks like we are on track to hopefully have a certified housing element by the end of January. With that being said, that is one of our major projects on our list. The city also received a submittal for Denmarket Square. We have reviewed that, processed that, and it's back in the hands of the applicant. We actually walked with the design team, myself and our Public Works Director, Roger Olds, as well as utilities, did a site walk with their design team to go over the comments that we'd provided to them. So they are in the midst of revising that, and hopefully that will go through its public hearing process sometime in late winter. As for Alamo Pintado, that is, as many of you have received correspondences on, that is in the hands of the developer. The developer is working to address the items that we have provided to them, which is a list of completeness items. Because this is a majority housing project and the city does not have objective design standards approved, very similar to signs, there's not much in terms of the DRC's role in reviewing. However, the DRC does have a role in terms of hearing the item as required by our ordinance. So you will be actually reviewing the item. However, you will provide recommendations very similar to the signs this evening that you did, Commissioner Bates, where you can recommend something, but they don't have to do it. And again, a lot of that is because we have yet to adopt these objective design standards. So that meeting will be noticed to the public. There will be meeting notices given to the neighbors adjacent to 300 feet. And that would be your opportunity to review the project and provide comments along with city staff comments towards the code. But when we get there, we'll provide you a very thorough staff report in terms of items that you can provide comments and recommendations on. But from there, we'll move on to the process. I would expect that application to be before you sometime in spring, essentially. So that's the update there. As far as items for next year, the general plan update, that's rather large and looming. We do have the final, we do have hopefully the draft environmental impact report to be out on city streets sometime in February. We will be holding a GPAC meeting in January to discuss the rest of the general plan update.
Do you have a date for that meeting?
I do not have a date yet, so, but that's another very large project that's on the horizon. And from that, we do have a rather substantial list of implementation measures specifically pertaining to the housing element, and one of those will be looking at our zoning ordinance and taking a very hard look at the items that are in there and going through an update, which would include objective design standards for not only the residential zones, but commercial zones as well. So that is something that this committee will be extremely engaged on, particularly in the signage update as well. That'll be another work effort that we'll be presenting hopefully to the city manager and the council in the next coming weeks about the ongoing work efforts that this department has. So this DRC committee does have a rather large sort of lift coming up within the next year or so for these rather large items that would affect pretty much every property here in the city. With that being said, that is the end of my report. Hope everyone has a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.
Okay.
We'll see you again in January, which
Okay.
we will have an item for sure in January. We did punt original item, which was a sidewalk dining ordinance. That's actually going to be an ordinance that does include what's called objective standards, which is what we're going to discuss with you. How do we objectively do barriers, et cetera? And so we're going to guide you through what that looks like. And that will then be the rubric for our sidewalk dining ordinance, which will then go back to you, the Planning Commission, and ultimately the council.
Terrific. Thank you. Counselor, do you have anything to add is under the city staff comments? Probably not.
Nothing substantive, but I just want to wish you all happy holidays and a happy new year.
Thank you so much. Same to you. We appreciate that. Any
Thank
other
you.
matters to come before the committee now? If not, I adjourn the meeting. Nope, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, please.
I would just like to thank Ms. Sherman and Mr. Castillo for, I've been in business, I'm young, I'm new to this. First time that I feel, I grew up in Solvang, and I felt the back of the support, the unity that Solvang, when I grew up, I've been here for 22 years. I really appreciate it. I'm sorry, we had that one discussion we had, you faced all the emotions I have been going through, and I apologize for that. But, the support that I've received from you guys is something that I haven't received since I've been in business, that I did receive growing up. And I'm huge on the community, I'm all about supporting the community, so I appreciate, feeling being reciprocated with that support. Same with council, I really appreciate the support, with my circumstance, and I apologize for all the issues, for the inexperience that,
No.
the young entrepreneurs trying to stay within Solvang and give back to the community that has given me so much. So I appreciate, the support from others.
That's nice of you to say. Thanks so much, and again, congratulations on your business, and wish you all the success with that.
And there's always, you can apply for a position on the design review committee here in a year or two. I think we've got a job for you.
Appreciate it. I hope everyone has a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Thanks so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you. That's a great place to declare adjournment at what is it, 5:47.
Woo-hoo.
Thank you so much. Thank you all, and I hope you all have good holidays.
Randy,
This
thank you for the
is
candy.
coming right up on it. Thanks so much.
Thank you for